You guys know this is a safe place where the Browns fans come to voice their opinions, and I get you guys back on track where you need to be for your day and the week. Hopefully, you guys are locked in and ready to go. Because I erupted Twitter this morning with a lot of tweets, and I'm not going back on for the rest of the day. Because I just don't like the negative. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe if you would have caught me like last year, if you would have caught me last year, and you would have caught me maybe like 6, 7 months ago, you may have got me, right? You may have got me. But I don't really like to entertain the negativity stuff no more. Like, I can entertain it, but no one wants to find any positives in anything anymore, right? And it's just I'm tired of those dark days, right? Like, those dark days are past me. So I'm running with straight positivity, man. I'm running with straight positivity. And we'll weed in the negatives where needed, and obviously there's negatives to be weeded in. Um, but like the blame game that we play as a whole, as a collective, as a Cleveland Browns like fan base, I don't know, man. But since we want to talk negatives, I'm going to entertain you guys, right? I'm going to give you why, like, because people think that I just don't have anything negative to say. Like, when that's never been further from like, one thing that's always been about me is that I'm always going to keep it authentic, and I'm always going to be real. That's why I think that 2020 team really, like, I didn't have as much, my videos didn't do as great as they did then, because I was so opinionated with that 2020 team, because I would say what like, if you were here in 2020 and 2021, you guys remember how I used to be, right? Like, I wish there was some OGs here from that time period, because I used to be a wild card. You didn't know what you would get out of me in 2021. And then as I started to get a little bit more, exposure, I honed it down a little bit, because as a fan base, we're supposed to let them know when they're doing bad, but like, some of the things that we do as a fan base is just puzzling to me, and I'm not for that. We have every right to sit here and be criticized. Has Deshaun Watson lived up to his expectation? Let's start with Deshaun Watson, right? Because that's the main topic that everybody wants to get at. Has Deshaun Watson lived up to the expectation? No, hell no. Anybody with even a half working mind would tell you that that's not the case. But to sit here and say that everything is solely on him is incorrect. We've won more games than we've lost with him at quarterback. And just because he hasn't matched the price tag, number one, as a fan, who cares? We can't control that. We cannot control it. We don't make the trades. We don't cut the checks. We don't hire these guys. It's out of our control. Us as fans are supposed to ride with the players that are on the team. And the players that are on our team are who we have. So we have to rock with what we have. Why would we want to make our lives as a fan more difficult on a day-by-day basis, glamoring for something and calling for something, cheering for something in a stadium in the second quarter, when Deshaun Watson is not going to get benched? He's not. So deal with it. But Deshaun Watson has clearly not lived up to his expectation. But he also has taken little steps. And I think that's what's irritating to everybody, is the fact that he's not taking drastic steps, especially with how much time he's been here and he's only played X amount of games and this and that. But this year, from week 1 to week 3, there have been steps forward every single week in some way, shape, or form. But because of the price tag, no one is going to look at that. The last chance we had in the game, Deshaun Watson threw, quite frankly, one of the best balls he's thrown as a Cleveland Brown on fourth down on the money. And it was dropped. The play that everybody's going back to, the one where he missed the check down to Akins, was with 4 minutes to go in the game. I didn't know the game ended with 4 minutes and 44 seconds left on the clock. There were still more opportunities after that. And the last opportunity that we had, no one's even talking about, when it was on fourth down and we had an opportunity to extend that drive, and he's right where we need to be, leading us down the field. He just had back-to-back passes to Amari Cooper, I believe, and then we end up in the fourth down situation, and he throws a dart and it's dropped. So, like, people thinking that I don't have anything negative to say about Watson, yeah, he needs to look better. Does it suck looking over and seeing all these other quarterbacks do all these different things and putting up all these yards? Sure. But I don't give a damn what these other teams are doing, bro. Like, why do I care what Sam Darnold is doing? Why do I care what Baker Mayfield's doing? Why do I care what Andy Dalton's doing? Why do I care about any of these things? I care about my team. And what we have is what we have. And until we don't have it, there's no sense in me wasting my energy bitching and moaning and complaining about something that's never going to change. As a coach and as people in the front office and all through that line, these are people, those are the ones that have to care about this stuff, because Kevin Stefanski's the one that has to make a decision on if he wants to bench Watson. Kevin Stefanski's the one that has to make a decision on if he wants to give up play calling. Andrew Berry is the one to decide that if maybe we need to get rid of or use our power a little bit and nudge Kevin Stefanski to get him off play call. Like, that's their decisions. You know what I mean? So me as a fan, personally, I'm not doing the whole, I wish we had Flack. We should have never did. That's out of my control. Now let's get back to some more negatives, because that's what everybody likes to do. The offensive line we went from being one of the greatest offensive lines to probably now being one of the worst offensive lines in the league. It doesn't help that you got now your best left guard in the history of the Browns franchise probably now playing left tackle. It doesn't help that a guy that literally was on track to being back for week 1 finally suits up week 3, gets re-injured again. You still have a guy that was supposedly Thanos and making guys disappear has now snapped the fingers on himself and completely disappeared, because he looks to be like he's lost some steps. We established no run game yesterday whatsoever. Someone said when your running back's averaging 3.7 yards per carry, that's not good enough. I agree with that to an extent, but correct me if I'm wrong. If you go 4 yards first play, 4 yards second play, 4 yards third play, that's 12 yards and you only need 10. I think that works. I think running the ball works. Deontay Foreman went from having how many carries last week? 16, 17 carries to only having 2. And your second leading rusher was Deshaun Watson with 4 rushes for 26 yards. Tell me how that's a recipe for success. Why does Jameis Winston have the same amount of carries as a guy who just led the backfield last week? That makes no sense at all. Cedric Tillman is still not being involved in this offense, and maybe that's why. Maybe there's something there that we're not seeing. Jerry Jeudy had 7 targets, 4 catches for 27 yards. Not good enough. Elijah Moore, 2 of 17 for 3 targets after having, 8 targets the first 2 games of the year. Why did we go away from getting Elijah Moore involved into the... See, what kills me about this is, like, when the stuff works, we sit here and we still bitch and complain and moan about everything, right? But when they deviate away and Amari Cooper goes 7 receptions for 86 yards and your next leading receiver is Jerome Ford with 3 receptions for 33 yards and then Jordan Akins for 4 for 29. But then I look down at that box score and I see Elijah Moore only got 3 targets with 2 for 17. That tells me that they went away from something that worked. Elijah Moore being a focal point in this offense clearly has some merit, clearly works whatever it may be, and they went away from it. Running the ball with Deontay Foreman to start the game out when you had two tight ends and an extra offensive lineman in the game worked, and we deviated away from that this game. Whenever something works, the fans bitch and moan so much that somehow it affects the team and they go away from it. How does that make sense? I just don't get it. 18 rushes to 37 passes. And you look over at the Giants side, 32 rushes to 35 passes. Are we still rocking negatives? Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. It's so hard to even go to the negatives. Like, I have to go to the play-by-play because we'll go to the touchdown. This is the one problem with our defense that they do have to figure this out. And I hate saying ego because I feel like I throw the term ego around too much, but I think they need an ego check. I think they need to stop smelling their own, if you know what I mean. We know how great these boys are. You guys don't have to go over the top to let us know how good you guys are. You got a huge interception after a one-play 24 touchdown, and then somehow after... No, wait. Let me backtrack before we even get to that touchdown. You guys did do what you were supposed to do because you got a 3-and-out after the touchdown and put the ball back in your offense hand, and they went 5 plays, 11 yards for 248. And then you come out after that and get the interception, and then we all know the roughing the passer, how that went. But what I mean with the ego check and the things that they need to check their mind, and they need to check their sweat, they need to check themselves sometime. After that interception, you guys broke down because you let them go 13 plays, 81 yards for 744. Now, granted, I get it. The adrenaline was high and everything was going your way. But that tells me you checked out because you guys felt like you should have had the rock. And that the call, second key, if you guys saw the keys to victory, don't let the zebras, ignore the zebras. You got a big turnover. And then you let them go 13 plays because they called it back. When you could have done exactly what you guys did after that and lock up. You know what I mean? Like, you got the ego at the door. You got to check it. But we go 3 plays minus 15 yards. We give the ball right back to the Giants. Defense comes out and goes 3 plays, 6 yards. Like, they give the ball back to the offense. And then guess what happens? 7 plays, 27 yards. And we give the ball back to the offense. 14 plays, 93 yards. Where did this one go wrong? What happened here? They get the run there for -1, and then they get the pass. I remember Jim Schwartz. We still talking negatives, right? This is an angle where we go over Jim Schwartz. The blitz clearly wasn't working. We blitzed so much in that first quarter. All Danny Dimes was doing was literally diming it to the flat or diming it to the underneath route. And then when he finally got a little bit of time to throw it, he just threw it up and let his players go make a catch. Like, we should have not been blitzing that much. And I think that has to do, I don't think they'll ever let us in on this, but there's something wrong. There is something wrong with Myles Garrett's feet. And I think they were overcompensating for that by blitzing as much as they were, because Myles didn't have a dominant game by any stretch. And again, they kind of went away from what they normally do. Like, I know Schwartz dials up the blitz, but man, they were sending the heat in the first quarter, and all they were doing was just picking it apart with a dink here, and just taking all the little yards that they can get and just milking us. A typical Kevin Stefanski drive. They did a typical Kevin Stefanski drive on us 2 times in the first quarter. And you see what it does to your defense. But people want to go they bounce back tremendously after that. Like, I mean, after that last 13 play, 14 play, 93-yard drive, after that last The fumble, that touchdown's BS to even give him. Malik Neighbors made a hell of a grab on the end zone there. So that was earned, not given. They go one punt or one turnover, punt, punt, fumble, punt, 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 missed field goal, all in the second half. But yet we're sitting here talking about the defense, and we're sitting here being upset with the defense. Come on, man. Come on, man. This is. You know how Kevin Stefanski always likes to get defense, offense, special teams. You got to be great in all facets of the game. Special teams has been damn near spectacular, and defense has been, I won't say damn near spectacular because they gave up 40-plus points against Dallas and 21 to the Giants. But the context behind it, if you put it all together, the defense has been above average and has been, I would say, borderline close to great. I would say the defense has been closer to great than they have been average. But it's all overshadowed because our offense cannot stay on the freaking field. You had a stretch where you went 5 plays, 11 yards, 3 plays, minus 15 yards, 7 plays, 27 yards. That was in 3 consecutive possessions. You think the defense is not going to be tired? They've been on the field the whole damn half. Now, are you guys happy that I said the negatives? Are you guys happy that I vented about the negatives? Can I move to some positives now? Can I talk about why we should be happy, why we should be looking forward, and why we can learn from these mistakes? Can we move forward now? Or is there something else that I need to address? Is there something else that I need to address? Because there's still some positives that we can squeeze out of this. Look, see, people can't even accept the fact that I'm saying positive in this game. I literally just gave you the positives as I was talking about this, and yet you guys still couldn't pick up on it. Our defense is still good. Like, do you understand that this team has never been built around the offense? As much as our money says it's built around the offense, this team's foundation is built on the defense. And our defense is still playing at a very, very, very high level, despite getting burnt on some plays, despite giving up all those points to the Cowboys, and despite giving up those points to the Giants. I just told you they gave up, out of the half, they didn't give up anything. They gave up nothing. That is as big of a positive as you can come away with as anything. And that tells me that they still have a chance, because if the defense checks out, that's when we have a problem. That's when Houston, we have a big problem. That's when the world may actually be ending, is when the defense gives up. But until the defense gives up, we've seen what this team, like, it's week 3. They haven't lost back-to-back games. Kevin Stefanski has rarely lost. I don't think he's ever lost 3 games in a row. And if he did, I think he's only lost 3 games in a row once. We have always responded when adversity has hit in the Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry era. So why are we sitting here and acting, just because we had these Super Bowl aspirations, that this is any different when the division is still wide open? Everyone thought the Steelers were going to be a walkover this year, and they're sitting at the top 3-0. If you guys still are going with what you thought at the beginning of the year, eventually Pittsburgh should crumble, right? If you're going off what you guys thought at the beginning of the year. But the other 3 teams that matter the most, everyone said there's going to be multiple teams in the AFC North. Well, there's 3 teams sitting in the same exact boat. The division is still open. I just don't understand why the world is ending week 3 into the year. So, is there many positives to run with right now? No, absolutely not. Anybody who knows me, I had an expectation for these guys to be 13 wins. You know what I mean? So you guys think I'm just sitting here all in la la land, like the one girl said on Twitter. I'm in la la land. You guys are drunk. I'm just a guy that doesn't live in negativity and not going to sit here and bitch and moan and complain about stuff. And I'm going to always try to find the positives before I go to the negatives, because that's all this world is. That's why you see it everywhere. Everyone would rather be negative. Everyone would rather sit here and complain, because that's what this world does. That's exactly what's wrong. I tell you what, I kid you not, guys. I'm about to get real spiritual on y'all real quick. I was in a really, really dark place a few months ago. Really dark. It's dark. I hadn't been that dark since 2021. 2021 was probably the darkest I ever been. But I was in a very dark place a few months ago. And I got back right with my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And I tell you what, ever since I got back close with my Lord and Savior, bro, and I've been on it every single day, I have found myself again. It's been amazing. It's been beautiful. It's been great because all of this negativity would have eaten me alive. All of this negativity I would have fed into it, and I would have been just like y'all. I would have been sitting here in a negative boat. And I'm telling you now, if y'all struggling, if y'all need to find something, y'all got to find whatever you believe in, whether it be, whatever you believe in, find it. Because ever since I found my Lord and Savior, the picture has become more clearer. The negativity is way easier to fight off. The positive energy is flowing back in my body like it has been in past times. And that's what I'm running with. So I'm cool on all the negative talk. I'm cool on all of that. It's bitching and moaning and complaining. When I'll do my fair share of complaining, I will. I'm always gonna do it. But at the end of the day, it's the Cleveland Browns. You've been a fan of this team. I've been a fan of this team my whole entire life. I rode with us through 0-16 and through 1-15. Why the hell am I jumping off at it? Why would I jump off now? Well, it makes no sense. I'm riding with my team no matter what, no matter what the record is. So I'm always gonna find positives when it comes to Cleveland Browns. And if you don't like that, there are plenty other creators out there that you can go follow. There are plenty other creators that can say the things that you want to hear. But I promise you, I'm never gonna be one of those guys that try to please everyone because I'm done doing that. I really am. So shout out to the ones that's here, and shout out to the ones that's sticking around. Shout out to the ones that can handle my positivity all the time, because I'm not doing the negative stuff no more. I'm out of that dark place, and I'm not going back to it.